So that's it? What, we some kind of suicide squad?
Hi, I'm Tony, the game director and co-founder here at Player First Games. We're here today to give you a first look at our new game, MultiVersus. About 2 years ago, we had a question. Can we create a platform fighter that mimics everything we love about the genre?
So now that Smash is done, I guess everyone just wants a piece of that platform fighter pie, huh? First we had Nickelodeon AllStar Brawl, now we've got this MultiVersus crap. What's next? Disney gonna come out with their own crossover fighter? That doesn't count. If you've seen my 2 previous videos talking about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, this is basically just me talking about characters that Warner Bros. Owns that I want to see added to this game that would actually get me to play the game. But this time I have the fun task of talking about what co-op attack they might have, because that's a mechanic in this game for some reason. I get wanting to be innovative, but that just seems weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority there. It's just another wishlist video. That's all this really is. So if you haven't seen those other ones, they're free. Go watch them. They're right here on this channel. You can click up here or in the end card, I guess. I don't know. I'll be looking at 1 character per franchise, and since Warner Brothers has a surprisingly large number of franchises that they haven't sold to Disney yet, and considering how not great the game looks better than I thought it would, just it still looks like crappy mobile game schlock to me. I'm going to need as many reps added into this game that will pull me in if I'm actually going to play it, regardless of if it's free to play. I honestly don't have much faith in this game, so I'm going to make this one short and talk about, I don't know, 6 or 7 characters maybe? Maybe after the game comes out I'll do a follow-up or something, but you know what? Let's just get this one over with. I'm not as enthused by it. I don't know if any of you really are. So I'm just going to talk about the couple picks that I have for it in what is going to be hopefully a shorter wishlist video, but still a wishlist video for Warner Brothers MultiVersus. The Lord of the Rings has many adept fighters within its pages, but none are as prolific and well-rounded as Aragorn. Sure, you could have Legolas see things with his elven eyes to help him snipe down with his bow, or have the height advantage with Gimli's stout frame and axe, but Aragorn is just an all-around better pick in my mind, and not just because I want to cuddle up to Viggo Mortensen's half-beard. Aragorn's prowess with melee and ranged combat makes him a foe to be reckoned with, and since we're bringing in Game of Thrones characters apparently, I have a personal vendetta to wipe them all from the face of the earth, and who better to do that than the King of Middle-earth with the big long sword. Aragorn's skills as a ranger make him an important ally for the Fellowship, and for the co-op element of the game, his whole deal could be helping his ally however he can. You know, maybe healing them with lambus bread, or using fire to ward away evil like he did with the ring wraiths, or just straight up stabbing a fool who gets too close to Frodo. Or, I guess, Jake the dog in this case? This game is wild, y'all. Look, Aragorn's kind of an obvious pick for Lord of the Rings rep behind Gandalf, so I feel like I don't really need to explain myself any more than that, and we'll just move on.
Rap so hot, I spit yoga fire!
Mortal Kombat is full of fighters who have become staples within the fighting game industry, including the Hellfire-spitting Scorpion, the four-armed terror Goro, the man-eating Melina, and then there's Cole. You know, the guy from the new movie. His superpower is hard shirt. Kind of forgot about him too. The problem with bringing Mortal Kombat into this is that a lot of the fighters are, well, to put it delicately, a bit too violent for their own good. But I would still want to see a representative from the franchise added into the game, and I think Liu Kang is a good starting point for that. Liu Kang is basically Bruce Lee, but with fire magic and the ability to turn into a fucking dragon. So naturally he'd be an even match for a cat and mouse duo. Liu Kang's whole character is not really defined by his violence, but instead his devotion to his order, his friends, and the fact that he can punch a hole through your sternum using a fist made out of pure fire. But ignore that last one and he could fit right into a family-friendly, free-to-play fighting game. For his co-op attack, they could possibly utilize one of the weapons he's wielded over the years, specifically the nunchucks. Imbuing them with fire, he could throw them into the air and create a temporary barrier that if an enemy is knocked into it, they get hit. Think like the bouncer in Super Smash Bros. I don't know how it would stay stationary, so to say, but Mortal Kombat is a series where a knife-wielding pervert Australian can regularly do battle with Arnold Skullface McGee over here and somehow not die, so they can just make some weird mumbo-jumbo about it being monk magic and just move on from there. Liu Kang is only one of the MK fighters that could potentially be added into the game, but he's probably one of the safer picks when you consider how violent some of the other fighters can be. I also just have an image in my head of him bicycle kicking Jake the dog in his round yellow face and watching it like just constantly be dragged through like it's silly putty, and I just want to see that become a reality.
Get in my belly!
Well, Nick AllStar Brawl is supposedly getting Garfield added into the game at some point. So why not give MultiVersus some Bill Murray love too and add in Osmosis Jones?
Dad.
While Drix might seem like a more obvious choice for a combatant from that movie, Osmosis Jones is the titular character and could work well as a low-power ranged fighter with some transformation abilities, kind of like Jake the dog. He could change his form to make giant fists or to help dodge attacks, and with his white blood cell issued pistol, he could be as annoying as a fox main and shoot small, ineffective shots at his opponents. The only problem I have suggesting with him, honestly, is the teamwork element. Since Ozzy is your typical loose cannon, I don't need no partner type of cop, it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't want to work with anyone else. But that kind of contradicts what the game is trying to do, so we gotta figure something out. So instead of doing something like popping a smoke cloud like Batman does, what if he just straight up made a second version of himself that'll follows his allies and attacks alongside them? Make a weird sort of Arya Stark and Osmosis Jones version of the Ice Climbers for a short period of time, you know? I mean, I'm sure someone's written a fanfic about that somewhere, so maybe we'll make them happy. Osmosis Jones is another one of those more obscure characters that would be great to see added into the game, but I think I have more of a chance of contracting Thrax than seeing this one happen.
I conduct the electricity!
DC superheroes and villains are likely going to be a large portion of the overall roster for this game, since they just fit the mold of a fighting game so well. I mean, hell, they already have their own series with Injustice. That said, I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting a little tired of seeing Superman and Batman and everything, and would love to see a bit more diversity to the roster. Which is why I'm personally glad Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn are at least in the game. However, there's one long shot character that I would love to see get added, and it might just come as a shock to some of you. Aside from the Batman comics and films, as well as an unfortunately misguided crush on Halle Berry's Catwoman in my youth, Static Shock was my introduction to the DC pantheon of heroes. His exploits through Dakota City fighting bang babies alongside his best bud Richie were always fun to watch, and I feel like he could be a fun fit for a fighting game like this, especially since there's going to supposedly be a Static Shock movie at some point in the future, so nice little bit of cross promotion for you, WB. When it comes to the co-op stuff, Static's whole arsenal of abilities could potentially be utilized, from making a dome-like shield of energy that can't be penetrated or shocking someone and keeping them in place, but I think just electrifying his ally to give them a more powerful punch or attack would work just fine for this. Really give him the shocker, you know? Actually no, that's bad. Don't do that. There are kids in this game. Anyway, I like Static Shock. I want to see him in the game. What can I say? But he's not the only character from the original WB block of cartoons that I'd love to see added into this game.
No, fingerprints. I don't think so.
A lot of fighting games have two characters becoming one for the sake of their standard combat gameplay, but not many games try and go one step further and add a third character to that menage a trois of carnage. Mortal Kombat tried that once with Triborg, but we don't talk about that anymore. No, instead, I'm talking about a fighter comprised of 3 entirely different characters rather than just shoving them all into one, and there's only one iconic trio I can think of that could fit the bill.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax, you'll laugh and laugh. We're Animaniacs.
The Animaniacs have been causing mayhem and mischief around the Warner Brothers lot since the 90s, so it's only a matter of time before they break free and start causing some trouble in the serververse instead. They're basically Looney Tunes, but with a more sarcastic and satirical twang to them, so they would fit right alongside Tom and Jerry or Bugs or hell, even Batman to a certain degree. The main problem I'm having is finding out what their co-op ability would be, but they do have one key advantage over most of their opponents that could potentially be utilized. an awareness of the fourth wall. How exactly they could utilize this, I'm not sure, since unlike Mortal Kombat or something, there aren't traditional health bars for them to grab and use like a club, or they can't really mess with the timer or anything like that. If you have any ideas on how this could be used, please leave a comment below. I'm eager to see what some of y'all think. The Animaniacs make perfect sense to me to be added to this game just because it's a silly, wacky adventure, but I think it's more just because I want more silly and wacky characters added in over Tyrion Lannister or whoever the fuck from Game of Thrones. But speaking of wacky...
Business. Numbers? Is this working? Yes.
The Lego Movie is one of the best animated films to come out this last decade, and seeing a rep from that movie would just be awesome. The problem would be picking a rep that is not only fun and unique from a cast full of fun and unique characters, but that could also lend themselves to being a fun fighting game character. Personally, I would choose Unikitty to fit that role. Sure, Emmett is a master builder. Wildstyle can master build but also kick butt. Metalbeard is a pirate mech, Benny is all about that hashtag space life, and you have Lego Batman, who would basically just be another Batman, but I already said I don't want more Batman, so shove that aside. To me, Unikitty has the most unique personality quirk that could work well for a fighting game: her rage. Unikitty's fighting style could be based around two states: happy and angry. Either make it like an aesthetic change based on the skin you're wearing with her, or going one step further than that, they could have a rage meter of some kind that when filled up, temporarily turns her into Angry Kitty, making her attack stronger and faster for a brief period of time. As far as how it would work with the game's co-op element, they could make Unikitty have a sort of rage aura around her. And if her ally is within that range, their attacks are also made stronger and faster within that short period of time. Unikitty is one of my personal favorite characters from the movie, and above all, I would just love to see her added into the game. I feel they could have a lot of fun with her moveset, and having a character that's basically the Hulk but small and cute sounds adorably silly to me. Plus, if they don't want to go with that rage meter thing, her co-op attack could literally just be scattering some Lego blocks on the ground that her partner is immune to, but if your opponent steps on them, they end up getting launched. I guess unless they're wearing shoes, or they like fly or something. You know what? This wasn't a good joke. Let's just move on.
Sometimes I feel very sorry for the coyote. Sometimes I wish he'd catch him.
Despite what Don Cheadle thinks, the Looney Tunes are arguably the most iconic franchise that Warner Brothers owns. These iconic characters have been entertaining kids and adults alike for years, with snappy dialogue, slapstick comedy, and a classic cartoon charm, and one of the most iconic members of the bunch rarely, if ever, says a word. Wile E. Coyote has had what one might argue a bad life. His primary rival and ultimate conquest is the Roadrunner, a flirtatiously tall bird with a penchant for speed that he finds irresistible, but because she's a bird and he's hungry. To try and accomplish his goal of eating, he utilizes a variety of gadgets, gizmos, doohickeys, and whatchamacallits provided by Acme, who either uses Wile E as a test subject for their shitty products, or their products only cost like 10 cents and a handshake because they for some reason keep selling to this mute, likely jobless coyote. What sets Mr. Coyote here apart from the various other fighters are a few things, but most notably are his gadgets, his seeming invulnerability, and the fact that he's mute. His many gadgets and explosives could give him a variety of weird attacks, as well as potentially add to the co-op attack thing. His seeming invulnerability could make him a heavy fighter despite his lanky frame, and his muteness means that the Warner Brothers executives don't have to pay a voice actor to add him into the game, which is more of an incentive for them to add him in. Just like give him some signs or a whiteboard or something, I don't know, he don't need to speak. Wile E. Coyote is my personal choice for an additional Looney Tunes rep, partly because I assume they'll add more Looney Tunes characters like Daffy Duck, Lola Bunny, Porky Pig, or LeBron James anyway, and I just want to see this lanky lad actually manage to kill someone for once. Now that might sound a bit sadistic, but I love his dedication to his cause and I want to help him see his plan through to the end. There. Another platform crossover fighter. Done. I don't have to talk about him anymore, right? Hopefully I can have at least a few months before Sony, Disney, or Ubisoft decide to announce their own. I mean, given my luck, I don't think that's really going to happen. So, I'm going to go and start working on wish lists for those games on the off chance that that actually happens, and hope that I can make some other content besides platform fighter wish lists soon. This is genuinely getting tiresome. This one more than the others, if only because I had to think about co-op attacks, because again, weird mechanic in what is likely going to be a throwaway mobile game. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to do all that fun YouTubey stuff down below. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already, where I post the occasional poll for upcoming videos and silly stuff like this. And I will see all of you in the next video. Take care.